what I want to do is something like this. Up until now, every time we do a thing on this page, it's like, okay, let me click this and go to a new page. Okay, I'm going to log in, and then after I log in, it's going to refresh the page. And then I want to see the books, I'm going to go to a new page. And then I want to see the details of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, I'm going to go to a new page. And then if I want to edit Miss Dalloway, it's actually Ms. Dalloway, then I'm going to save it, and when I save it, it's going to redirect to a new page. So every single time something happens, in other words, we're getting, if not a redirect to a new page, at least a refresh on the same page. So, for example, if we, when we delete one of these books, it looks like we see it right away. We go, boop, and it's gone. But we still refresh the page. So let's say there were like 300 books and we scrolled all the way down. When we click that, we would be back up at the top of the page and you'd have to scroll down again. So, but if you look at the more new fancy apps there are in the world, like Gmail, hopefully there's no bad emails here. When you want to create a new email, you just click this button here. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. Click that button, and this thing pops up. And then I can make a new email. Hey, man, how's it going? And I click it, and I don't go to a new page, and it sends. And look, I see it. It goes there, and there's no refresh, there's no going to a new page. So we're going to try to use axios to do something like that. So I guess what I want to do is I want to, when I click this button, instead of going to a new page and seeing this info, I want it to just kind of pop up right over here. I just want to see a little pop-up of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And I click this, and then it changes the little pop-up, right? So what we're going to do first is we're going to make an API route, because you already learned how to make an axios GET request, right? So with you did the iron characters thing, right? Or the countries, with the countries. The characters, okay, with the characters. You made an axios GET request. You say axios get me some information at this particular URL. And then you get the information, and then you append it to the page, or whatever. So if only we had a place to say, axios, go get me the information. But we have the power to do that, to make a route for that. So it's really not that hard. It's actually probably just, it's like all your other routes. It's just a tiny bit less work. So let's do where should I put this route? I'm gonna make a new routes file called API routes. API routes.js. Const express equals require. Is that how it goes? I don't actually remember. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Okay, and before I do anything, I'm going to attach this router to my app.js so I don't forget. So all the way at the bottom, app.js, where all my routes are connected. Const API routes equals, and then give it the path to the file. And then this is the only one that I'm going to put a prefix on. So all these other ones, I didn't put a prefix on them because I basically did. If you look in the book routes, they all start with /books. If you look in the author routes, they all start with /authors. That's not true of user routes, though, or of admin routes. But for API routes, I want to make sure that they all start with /API, just so that I don't get them mixed up with anything else, because I want to make in there, sorry, don't put an extra slash there. I want to make in that route, in that routes file, I want to make some routes that are really going to be very similar to these routes. So it might even be like I have in my book routes, I got /books. I think I want to have an API version of that same thing. So I'm going to call it /API/books. So that's why I'm just going to put /API in front of all my API routes, and then they're never going to accidentally be named the same thing as a regular route. And I'm never going to accidentally res redirect to one of these routes because when I'm res redirecting, I'm going to know I'm doing it to the wrong route because it's going to start with /API. It's going to be hard to do it by accident, in other words. And that's a rule. You never res redirect to an API route because, we're going to see right now, API routes they don't render an HBS file. There's no view for them. So this one's going to be called /books. And again, since I have that prefix, since we have /API prefix in app.js attached to this routes file, this route is actually /API/books. And in here, what we're going to do, well, first I got to, const book equals require the book model. And then what I'm going to do in this route is almost the same thing that I do in my book routes when I get the books, except I'm not going to do all this fancy rec user stuff. What I'm going to do instead is just book.find. So I got all the books, and I'll call it all the books. .catch. And in here, in API routes that catch, we don't do next error. This is the only time in our particular arrangement of how we built this Express app that next error will not do you any good here. In fact, I'm not sure what it'll do. It'll do something bad. It might break. It might make the server crash. What we want to do is just console log the error, because this is not going to res render anything. What we're going to do is res JSON all the books. So, but before we do that, let's just take a look at res JSON for a second. I'm going to res JSON something else instead of all the books. Let's just res JSON. I'm going to do this. Let's go const random object equals this object, and message equals hello. I don't know. Number equals 17. Res JSON random object. So this whole route, I basically rendered it. I'm not doing any of this stuff. All I'm really doing is router.get, and then I create this random object, and then we res JSON that random object. So let's take a look at what happens when we go to that route. This is /API/books. So, I'm already there. If I go to /API, and I'm not going to make a link for this, and you're going to see why, because, wait, what? I can't do anything? Oh, I think that putting them after, since I protected my admin routes with that middleware I made, I think that these got protected in the process because they're below. Let's see. /API/books. Yes. Okay. So remember when we made admin routes? If you look in the admin routes, we got this router.use, this middleware to kick you out if you're not logged in and if you're not an admin. This is affecting all the routes in this file. It's also affecting all the routes that come after that file. So since I had the API routes after that file, they got protected too. So keep an eye on that and make sure your protected routes all come all together at the bottom. There's a way to undo it. I just don't know off the top of my head, so I'm just going to reorder it for now. Anyway, we go to API/books and we get this. I don't know if all of you get this because I don't know if all of you have a JSON Chrome extension viewer thingamajiggy. It might be uglier than this. But anyway, it's an object. Res JSON just gives you data without the HBS file, basically. So what we do with an API route is, obviously we don't do random object. What we do instead is we do the same thing we do in a normal route, book.find, get all the books from the database, but then instead of passing those books into an HBS file and then showing it to you, we just straight up give you that information in JSON. So if we take this away, take a look at what happens when we res JSON all the books now. You'll see it's all the books. I don't know why this image looks, that one looks different than the rest. But anyway, those are the books, and it's all the information about them. And yeah, that's cool. So how do we use this? Well, I'm going to make my this route a little bit more fancy, because the feature that I said I wanted, this route is, as of now, it's useless for that, because the feature I want is that when I click on one of these books, I want the details of the book to pop up here. So the route that I need to make in my API routes really is not the all books route, it's the get me one particular book route. So this route is going to have an ID in it, and we're not going to do book.find. What we're going to do is book.find by ID with rec.params.id. And then you feel free to rename this variable, because it's not called all the books. It's called, I don't know, what would be a good name for it? The book. Yeah, fine. So now this route, I didn't start with this route because this route is a lot harder to test and demo, because I don't know all the books IDs off the top of my head to type them in the URL. But now that you know how it works, and that if this works and we actually get in real ID, that we're going to get the book's information in JSON, let's try to do that. So right now, oh man, I'm getting logged out every time. How do I stop that? No, it's here. But then I'm going to get errors because of this. So what I just do is I'm just going to say if rec.user and put this whole thing in there so that I don't get errors while I'm testing. Okay, cool. So now if you're not logged in, you just can't edit anything. Okay, so what I want to do right now, this is an A tag. And when I click this A tag, it obviously does what an A tag does. It redirects you to the page that this says. So I want to change that. I want to do a different thing. So let's go look at that view. Book views, books list, this one here. So I don't want it to be an A tag now. What I want it to be is just like a button. Why a button? Just because buttons are the most normal thing to put an onClick function on, and I'm going to put an onClick function on this. We're going to add some front-end JavaScript to our Express app for the first time. So see details. Oh. Wait, I have to figure out what to do with this. I guess I'll put the button right underneath the H2. Like that. Okay. What if I what happens if I do that? What does that look like? That looks fine. Okay, I like that. That's better. Okay, so I am going to put an ID or a class on this thing so I can put an onClick function on it. So let's do ID because it's more specific. Fetch details button. Very explicit ID. So where do we put front-end JavaScript files here? Yes, that is exactly correct. In public, where's public? Public. In JavaScript, there's this thing called script.js, and this is already linked to your project. Where is it linked? It's linked in the layout. If you look at the layout, down at the bottom, here, that. So that page, this JavaScript file is linked on every single page. I'm gonna not link this JavaScript file on every single page, because if I link it on every single page, the first line in this file that I'm about to write is something like, let the button equal document.getElementById, whatever I just named that thing. And if I put it on every single page, then if I look at the console on another page, it's gonna have a little error on it, and I don't like having little errors on my console. It won't hurt your performance really, but I don't like when I open the console and I see like bunch of errors on a stock website. It makes me lose confidence in the website. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create another file here. Call it what should we call it? bookfetch.js. That's my name. Bookfetch.js, and then we're gonna steal this thing from the script.js. This is like the express version of document.ready. You guys did that, or did you not do jQuery? Window onload. Okay, this is like the express version of that, because I don't know. I don't really know exactly why, but basically because if you do window onload, it actually does it before the stuff's on the page. So this actually waits like until Express finishes rendering the right stuff, and then it does it. I think it's because HBS it has to get compiled into HTML. So first it's HBS and then it's HTML. I'm not really sure about the specifics, but I know that this one works. So in here, let's start just console log. We're on the right page. And I'm going to link that, like I said, not in my layout, but on this book list HBS file. Just go all the way to the bottom, script. And the source always starts with slash and then the name of the folder that's inside public folder. So that's JavaScript / bookfetch.js. In Express, if you're loading a static asset, if you start that asset with slash, that means public / that. So you don't need to say .. / public, just slash. So if that works, I should see a thing that says we're on the right page. And if I go to another page, it doesn't say we're on the right page. Perfect. Okay. So now, what did I call it? What ID did I give that thing? Where's that button? Here it is. Fetch details button. Aren't they gonna have? Oh. You're right. Let's make it a class. Sorry, I forgot I was in the each loop. Good point. Okay, class. Now, well, yeah, let's just first add a onClick function. So I'm gonna be like, okay, const the button, or actually the buttons equal document.queries, or just get elements by class name. That. Okay. Then, well, first let's just do this. Let's just do how do you do the fancy event listener to all of them at the same time? It's like document add event listener or something like that. Because I don't want to run a loop and add an event listener to each one inside there. That's annoying. No, document add event listener class name. What? You have to do, okay, whatever, I'll do a loop. I don't care, fine. Oh. Yeah, that's easier. Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, we don't even need this class then. but whatever, I'll just leave it. It's fine. Okay, on click equals, oh, but it's not going to be defined. No, that doesn't work. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do it like this. Okay. The buttons, or sorry, for let I equal 0, I less than the buttons dot length, I plus plus, the button dot on click equal, or sorry, the buttons bracket I dot on click equals function, this console log, yes, it's working. Okay, we got our click function. Now, what I need is in this click function, I need to know the ID of the book. That's my problem, my chief problem. Because what I need to do is in this click function, my goal here is to grab the ID of the book and then make an axios request to this place. And then I get the JSON back, and then I can put it on the page. So I need the ID of the book somehow, but I don't have it because I don't have access to, in this file, I can't do the book._ID because this is front end and this is not HBS and it has nothing to do with that other thing. So I have to figure out a way to pass the ID from the back end to the front end. So what I'll do is usually the easiest way to do that is to put a data attribute on the button. So we got a couple attributes now. I'll skip lines in between them. Let's do data-ID equals this dot_ID. Okay. Then in my book fetch thing, let's console log. Let's put an E here. Let's console log E dot current target dot. How do I access the data attributes? I know how to do it with jQuery. Vanilla JS access data attributes. Dot dataset dot whatever. Okay. So in here, let's console log E dot current target dot dataset. Right? Dot dataset. Yeah. Dot dataset. And let's see. Hopefully, I get to see those data attributes that I put on there. So I click this. Nice. ID that. That one has a different ID. Perfect. All right, we're in business. Got the data ID thing, majiggy. Have you guys done things with data attributes before? Really? This is literally the purpose of a data attribute. The purpose of a data attribute basically is so that you can have some information that you got that you need to pass to the JavaScript file that you need to grab from the DOM, but it's not on the DOM, and you don't want the user to like see it with their eyes. You just put it in a data attribute. You can make this up. I made up this name. It just has to start with data dash something. You could do data dash blah equals hello, and then what you see is when I click this, the data set is an object with, it's basically params, but for the front end, basically. So I'll leave that there actually as a comment. You can send whatever you want in the data set. The names are made up. Okay, so now I got the data, the ID. So I'll say const the ID equals that thing, and then we need something that we don't have yet. We need an axios CDN. So I'm gonna axios CDN. That looks good. And I'll get the .min.js one. You can get the regular .js one, but if you get the .min.js one, your app will run 1/1,000,000th of a second faster, probably. That's in the, I need that in, let's just put that in the layout. So that anywhere that we need to use axios, we can use axios. So let's put that in the head of the layout. Oh, sorry, that's just the link. Script tag, oops. Script tag source equals that axios thing. Okay, so now that means in our front-end JavaScript files, not in the back-end JavaScript files. That's a different thing. That's an npm package for axios. But in the front-end JavaScript files, we should be able to use axios. So here, I'm going to do axios.get, and the get request is going to be to http://localhost 3000/API/books/the ID. Then .catch. And again, here we're not doing next error because there's literally no such thing as next on the front end. We're just console logging the error. Ideally, what we'd actually like to do maybe is instead of console log the error, you can make your own kind of flash message type of thing by just appending this error to a predefined error spot on your page, and then the user can see like something went wrong with the, whatever. We can add that at the end. Info, let's say info, and then let's just console log info. Oh, yeah, sorry. Thanks. Okay, I think that'll work. Let's see. Nothing. Why? Well, let's debug. Console log something here. Hello. Oh, yeah. Yes. .id. Thank you. That's going to be important. But why didn't we get the console log this thing error? Should have given me an error. We'll do it again. Okay, well now it just works. I don't know why I didn't get the error. Oh, now I want the error. Let's see. Wow, it doesn't give me an error. Whatever. Anyway, this way works. Make sure we got the ID. I can get rid of this. And you can see that when actually it just took a really long time to give me an error. It finally gave me one. Anyway, click this, and we get this information. Look in here. It's inside of the data thing because always Axios gives you back this thing with config and headers and request and status text and data, and always the thing that you want is in data. So don't even bother console logging info. Just console log info.data. That's what we want. Come on. Okay. And there it is. We got all the information about that one. If I click that one, we got all the information about that one. If we click that one, I got all the information about that one. Perfect. Now the only thing left to do is to append it to the page. I do want to change one thing about my API route, though. If you look at this, it says the author is 5D80E2E, which is totally useless to me. So if I go back to my API route, when I do book.findById, if I do .populate author right there, then I'll get that whole, sorry, don't put that thing. If I do that populate author, then instead of an ID here, what I will get is another object that has all the stuff about the author. Cool. So now all I got to do is append it to the page. So I'm going to put a div on this page. I don't don't know where to put it. Let's see. I'll put it over here. Let's put it. Class. Yeah. Class equals details. Let me just put some CSS on that thing so that we can actually see it. Where are my style sheets? By the way, we haven't talked that much about this, but Express, if you do use the iron generator, it comes with a CSS, SCSS middleware. You have to put all your styles in the SCSS file, not in the CSS file. Anyway, let's do that. Let's do float right border radius. Okay. That looks dumb like that. It's just sitting there like that. No. How can I? Maybe I just won't give it a border, and then it won't look so dumb. Also, why is it so far down there? Oh, because these are, those go all the way across. Let's do this. This whole situation, we're going to put it in a div. And that div, style equals float left. There we go. Okay, now it's up there, and I don't need the border so that it doesn't look stupid. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to append it to that thing. And let's also give it an ID just to make my appending easier. Deets. Is that how you spell deets if you're like saying like, give me the deets? I think it's like that, yeah, okay. The deets. Okay. In here, we console log the stuff, give ourselves some room to think, or at least maybe that's just me. But I'm going to do document.get element by ID, parentheses that, dot HTML, dot inner HTML. I forget jQuery versus JavaScript. We're going to equal it to something, but first let's like craft a little div. So let's do let new stuff equal, what should we do? Okay, document.create element parentheses div. Okay. New stuff dot style dot border equals, actually let's not do any of that fancy stuff. Let's just append the stuff. Okay. We're going to put the div, we're going to say new stuff dot inner HTML equals, and we'll put an H2, and in the middle, sorry, let's put these as backticks, and in the middle of the H2 we can put info dot data dot title. That's what it was, right? Dot title. Dot title, yeah. Dot title. So let's start with just like that. New stuff. Oh, right. What should I do? Let's just do it the easy way. Yeah, we'll just do it like this. Okay. So then what we want to do, that's like, this is just throwing the title in there. So now what I want to do is I want to recreate my book details page right here on that. So I'm going to go look at my book details page, my view. Details. It's not much. It's really not much. It's just the title, the author, a link to the author, and then an image of the book's image. Okay. So let's do this. New stuff equals an H2. We're going to skip some lines. It's going to equal an H2, and then under the H2, it's going to equal a H4 that says by, and then info.data.author.name. And by the way, this author is inside of an A tag. And the href on that A tag is equal to info.data.author. Oh, sorry, it's actually equal to /authors. Or maybe it's, I have to do the whole thing. http://localhost 3000 /authors /that author's ID. And then under that, we're going to put an image tag. And the image's source is going to be equal to info.data.image. And we're also going to put a style tag on that image and just say width 400 pixels, which is just to make sure we don't get any ridiculously giant images. Actually, let's make it smaller because we're actually on the smaller, we have less room now because it's over on the side. Okay, I think that'll work. Let's see. Oh, I do? Oh, localhost 3, yeah, a lot of typos. Localhost 3000 /authors /that. Let's see. Boom. Will it work? Will it work? Oh, I need a That's what happens if you don't consistently protect everything, and some stuff is unprotected and some stuff is not protected. All right, let's do it again. All books. See details. Very cool. Wait. Why did that happen? I don't have access to that feature? But that's an author route. Well, it did work, but for some reason, to check that it worked, let's go into, oh, sorry, it didn't work. Authors /details /the ID. I don't really know why this happened, though. Do not have access to this feature. That's strange. Anyway, I'll have to figure that out. But the should be /authors /details /that. One more try. I have to log in. I already know. No. Don't do that. Hey, beautiful. And so there's no limit to how much axios stuff you could do. You could have it be when you click this link, it replaces this right there on the page with the author's details. Now the only thing that we need to go over now is post. You can also make post requests through axios. So I guess the most logical place to do that would be on this page with the edit. Editing would be the place where it would be nicest to just like edit it right there and just see it change, right? So let's see, how should we do that? I'm going to do it in a, let's start with a sort of an easy-ish way. Let's not do it in too much of a hard mode. Oh wait, I just made it harder, didn't I? Well, what should we do? Let's do it with create. It'll be easier because I made it harder by, I was going to say we should do the edit right here on the details page, but now the details page is like over here on the side, and that means any stuff I do, I'm going to have to inject it into this little area right here, and I think this is already complicated enough for learning purposes. So let's do, for creation, instead of having a new page to add a new book, let's just right here on the all books page, down here, or maybe on the top, let's have a little form that says, you know, to add a new book, and when you add it, it just shows up right there. How about that? And we can even hide the form and show it with a button, you know, to be fancy. So that would also be on the same books list page. So I'm going to go down above here, and I'm going to put a form. And the ID is going to be, the thing about this is that the form is not going to be, it's not going to act like a real form. We're not going to put an action or a method on it because we're not expecting to actually submit the form. In fact, I could do it without the form tag and just have a button with inputs next to it and do an on-click function. But I'm going to do a form tag because I want to be able to have the user hit enter because that's fancy and cool. And nobody likes typing stuff in and then hitting enter and then realizing that you have to click a button. That's stupid. So add new book form. And I guess I can just steal that from my other page with this thing. Same thing. Title, oh man, I need the authors. Okay. How will I do that with all the authors? I'll figure it out. Oh, we just need to grab all the authors right here. I forgot. We're still in the HBS file. Beautiful. Okay. So we just need a thing called all the authors. Let's go into the routes, the book routes. Where are we? Book routes. We're on this page right here. We just need to also pass in all the authors. So let's say all the books, book.find, .then, all the books for let's just find the authors first. How about that? Author.find, .then, all authors. And then take this and put that all the way after there. Oh, actually, that's wrong. Like this. There. And so when I pass in books, let's also pass in authors equal to all authors. Okay. See what that looks like. It's not working. Why not? Let's see why. If I look at the book list file, it's because it's each all the authors. So here, I have to call it all the authors. And now we got all these offers. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to have it so that I just type it in, and then it adds it right there without refreshing the page. So let's look at these. Let's look at these inputs. Right now, our inputs have names, but they really don't need names because we're not going to use names to grab them. We could use names to grab them, but I feel like if I did that, then it would be misleading because then you would think that the names are still the most important thing, but they're not. For Axios, we just need to grab them through the DOM. This stays the same, this stays the same, this name changes. Okay, so on all our inputs, for the title, let's, instead of putting a name, let's put an ID called new title. And for the author, on the select tag, instead of putting a name, we'll just put an ID called new author. And for the image, instead of a name, we'll just put an ID called new image. Okay. And so this form, its ID is add new book form. So in my book fetch JavaScript file, after this monstrous function here, I'm going to say document.get element by ID, new book form, add new book form dot on click equals function. And the things we need to do, we need to grab all the values out of the form. So, but before we do that, what I need to do is this. If I, as of now, if I click this button, save, see how, keep an eye on my URL there. It says books. If I hit save, all of a sudden it refreshes and then there's a little question mark. That's like with the default of a form if you don't give it an action. What we need to do to stop it from refreshing the page is put an E there. It doesn't have to be called E, obviously. You can call it whatever you want, but that's usually what most people call it. E.prevent default will stop the form from submitting. So now when I click this, nothing happens at all, which seems like the opposite of what we want to have happen. But now I have full control of what I want to have happen when I do that. So I'm going to create 3 variables, one for this, and one for this. Const title equals document.get element by ID, parentheses new title dot value. Const author equals literally the same thing, but instead of new title, new author. And then image, same thing, but new image. And then let's just console log those 3 things to see if it's working. This is a test title. Wait, what? I must, oh, I did on click, sorry. Should not be on click, should be on submit. Is it camel case? We'll find out. Okay. So now it works when I submit the form, not every time I click it. So now what I need to do is I got those 3 things, good to go. Now I need to make an Axios post request, but I don't have a post route for that. So I'm going to go make a new post route. Now I'm going to actually look at my book routes. I'm going to look at my route for creating a new book, this route right here. And I'm going to copy it because it's going to be almost exactly the same route. It's a shame that technically there's a way that we could use the same route and have a little if in there and like figure out if it came from Axios, but that seems more complicated than I think it would be counterproductive. Anyway, the only thing we need to change about this route, this is /API/books/creation. All we need to change is this. You're not allowed to res redirect in an API route. That's the only difference. For a post route that creates something, the only difference is you don't redirect. So, but you do have to res JSON something, otherwise it won't work. So you can just res JSON if you want. You can say message success. Or you can res JSON this result, which is all the information about the book that you just created. Either way, yeah, let's do that. Let's res JSON result. Okay. Now, in this book fetch thing, I got title, author, and image. So now I'm going to do axios.post. So that's how you do a post request with Axios. As you probably would have guessed if I had asked you to guess how to do it, it's just like that. You put in the URL, http://localhost/API/books/creation. Now, the question is, how do you get rec.body, right? Because this API route right here, we're grabbing rec.body.the title, rec.body.the author, and rec.body.the image, but I don't have names on my inputs, and I don't have an action on my form. So how do I get rec.body? It's easy. In Axios, you have full control of what rec.body looks like. What you do is, remember how the GET request, it takes one argument. That's the URL. Post request just takes two arguments. The first one's the URL. The second one is rec.body. You literally define rec.body. This thing is rec.body. So I go, the title equaling title. That means rec.body.the title equals whatever you put here. The author. And again, I'm calling it the title and the author and the image because in my route, I'm looking for rec.body.the title, the author, and the image. So again, this literally is rec.body. You get to define it 100% the way you want to define it. And you can put absolutely anything in there that you want. Actually, I don't know if you can put functions in there. But anyway, you get full control is my point. So we do this. We do .then. You can grab there's no need to grab the user ID and put it in rec.body because you already have it in the route. So you can always, here in this route, see that? Oh, wait, that should be that. Huh. Is that how my other route is? Well, it's supposed to be the user ID. So, imagine that. I've had a typo this whole time. Anyway, but yeah, you don't need to send the user ID through through Axios because you always have it on the back end. So you can always just say like that. Okay, this is obviously only going to work if I'm logged in though. So, but anyway. So yeah, so I do post to that place, the title, the author, the image, and then in here, results. Let's console log result. Oh, I don't know why I said .post here. This should be .catch. So let's try it. Let's create Macbeth. Do we have Macbeth? No. Macbeth. No, I want to right click. Okay. So I hit this, and it didn't work. Why? Let's find out. Oh, I know why. I literally just said this. I'm not logged in. Okay. And we get the data back, and the data is Macbeth, and now if I refresh the page, it's there. But what's the point of all this axios stuff if I have to refresh the page to see it? So, one more step. How should we do it? I can't teach you the wrong way in good conscience, so it would be slightly easier to teach you the wrong way, but we need one more route, API route. This API route is going to be the one that we originally did, that I then didn't do. Router.get/books rec res next book.find. And okay, so we need this route to grab all the books. And so what I'm going to do is every time I create a new book, I'm going to grab all the books. I'm going to delete all these books from the page, and then I'm going to remake the list again. Yeah, so I could just grab this. Where'd it go? No, sorry, here. I could just grab this result and append that to the page. Yeah, but then this is called the optimistic framework of development, where it only works if everything works. And if one thing breaks, this way of doing it is maybe a little bit cheaper computationally, but then if one thing breaks, more things break along with it. But then again, on this particular page, rebuilding this whole list, checking to see which books are mine and which aren't, is going to be a lot of stuff. So let's do it. Let's do it that way. Fine. We're not going to use this route. We're just going to append, and since we are assuming that the person, because the part that convinces me that this is a lot easier is that since we are assuming that the person is logged in if they're creating a book, we can just go ahead and append the book to the page with the delete button and the edit link right away. We don't need to check to see if it's mine because we know it's mine because I just created it. And then if someone else were to come back to this page and refresh at a later time, it would do that check anyway, so it's not going to break. Okay, so let's do that. In this book fetch, in this .then, some space to think. Let's do const the new book equals result.data equals result.data. And then we're going to do, let's find, what's the name of this, this div over here? Let's figure out what that is. This, no, this, wait. Oh, it's just a bunch of, oh no, this one. But we don't have a class on it, so let me go give it a class. Or an ID, for that matter. All right, so this. Also, there's no reason to put all the form and everything. Let's put this ID below this div below the form. Okay. So that all the books are in this div, and then let's give it a class, book, or let's give it an ID. ID, book, list. Okay, that looks about the same. And so then what I want to do is, after I grab the book, after I create the book, I'm going to do document dot get element by ID parentheses book list, and I'm going to append some stuff to that. So what am I going to append? I'm going to append a div that has the name and a see details button and a edit link, and what else is it? And the delete button, and the delete button. Okay. This whole thing, this whole little situation. So let's, how should we do that? Yeah, let's just do it like this. Well, the way I made this structure of this book list is each book doesn't have its own div. It's like, where is it? That's all the authors. Here, each book's, in each, it's just a H2 that's just out there, and then a form with a button, and then an ahref. So it's not like a div with those things. So I want to keep the structure consistent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to append three things. I'm going to append an H2, and then I'm going to append a form, and then I'm going to append an A tag. Dot append child. I have to do this. I have to do let new H2 equal, or sorry, new H2 element H2 dot, and then what is it supposed to look like? The H2 looks like this. No. H2 with that just says this dot title in it, and then there's also a but. Let's just copy all this stuff. Why not? Okay, and the difference is it's not going to be this, well, we can get rid of these comments. But the things that we need to change are, it's not all these double, instead is the new book dot title. The new book dot title. That's fine, and then this dot ID thing has to be the new book dot underscore ID. Append child new H2. And then after that, let, what are the other things? There's the H2, and then there's the form with the button. So let new delete equal this. And again, I'm going to copy the structure from my book list. Grab this. Let new delete equal document dot create element parentheses form, and then new delete dot inner HTML equals this, but then we don't need the form tag in there because I already called it, I already made it a form, so I don't need the form to be a oh, but I do need the action. How do I set the action? Let's see. How to set action of form in JavaScript. Dot action equals that. Okay, that's easy enough. I'm assuming dot method also is the same thing. So I don't need the form tag, but I do need to say, I'm going to save this little line right here. The inner HTML just looks like this. But then I'm going to need to do new delete dot action equals, and what is it, this? Let's put it in backticks equals books slash delete slash new book, the new book dot underscore ID. And then I need to say new delete dot method equals post. I'm assuming that's how it works. And then the last thing is the link for edit. The link for edit. Okay, and that's just an A tag, right? Let's see. Yeah, that's just an A tag. Let new A tag equal document dot create element A. New A tag dot inner HTML equals. It's just going to say edit this book's info. And then I'm assuming it's just .href, but let me see. Set href JavaScript. .href. Yep. Upvote. Upvote. New A tag .href equals let's put this in backticks, and instead of this dot underscore ID, it's the new book dot underscore ID. Okay. And then finally, we do document dot get element ID book list append child new h2, and then we append child new delete, and then we append child new A tag. Okay. Hope that works. I think that'll work. Seems like a lot, kind of. Seems kind of like a lot, but that's why they invented React. Okay. No. 103 H2 is not defined. 103. What? Where? Book fetch JS 103. No, book fetch JS 72. It's console logging the error. 72 is where it happens. It's not H2, it's new H2. Come on. Okay, one more try. Log in. Yeah, it'll still save the book. The part that errored was after it saved the book when it tried to append it to the page. What book do we not have? Let's do Persig Lila. Persig. Okay. Let's see if it works. Boom. There it is. And we could also add it to the top of the list, maybe make it easier to see. Is prepend child a thing in vanilla JavaScript? Vanilla JS prepend. You can prepend. Okay, let's prepend instead of appending. I guess we should prepend in the opposite order though, because then it wants to, it goes like to the top. So here, if we change append child to, wait, just as prepend. If we move that one to the top, that one second, and then that one last, then it should add it to the top of our list when we do it. Let's see. I get Leonardo DiCaprio. Whatever. Close enough. Okay. Haha, very cool, very cool. Of course, if you refresh the page, it's going to be at the bottom instead. But you could change that too. You could say, hey, book routes. Yeah, when I get all my books, don't give me them in the normal order. Give me them in the opposite order. The easiest way probably is just to go in here. Books equals all the books dot reverse. And then there it is. Opposite order. Yeah. Yeah, you can do that. So this is like a hack way of just doing a real quick reverse. Mongoose gives you the ability to put them in any order you want. That's the sort. So you do book.find.sort name or title colon -1, I think. Then it's opposite alphabetical order. Positive one is the opposite way. You could do author.name. Oh, you can't do that. Never mind. Can't do author.name. You can do well, we only have title, but you can do anything you want. That's just the sort for Mongoose. Don't forget that Mongoose lab that you did before you ever started doing Express. It had a lot of powerful things. You can anything that's in your database that you can speak into words that you can describe that you want that. You can say it in Mongo too. So there's always a way. But I'll keep it with the dot reverse thing. Yeah, then it's cool. Anyway, that's all of the Axios thing. So I am not going to make you add this to your movie celebrity app. We can start the project. Wait, let me end.